Friendship is often celebrated as the cornerstone of a fulfilling life, a tapestry of shared memories, mutual support and lasting kinship that weaves itself through both our brightest days and darkest nights. Genuine friends can be guiding lights in turbulent storms, companions who stand by our side when the world threatens to swallow us whole, and confidants who hold our secrets with unwavering trust. Yet, for all the sweetness and sincerity that genuine friendship can bring, there also exists a realm of betrayal and hidden motivations. This realm belongs to those who present themselves as allies, but carry knives concealed behind soft smiles and flattering words. These individuals are sometimes labelled as fake friends. They slip into our lives wearing carefully crafted masks, leaving us in confusion about their authenticity until they reveal their true nature. Recognizing these false companions and understanding how to navigate the wounds they inflict can be a profound lesson in awareness, self-worth, and resilience. Fake friends are not simply individuals who make mistakes. They are not those who occasionally disappoint or fail to read our emotional cues. After all, every human relationship is susceptible to misunderstandings and imperfections. What distinguishes a fake friend is a conscious disregard for empathy and honesty. They may seek to exploit, manipulate, or belittle. They may be present only when our fortunes are high, quietly vanishing when the shadows descend. A fake friend can be the coworker who pretends to cheer for our success while silently resenting our achievements, or the classmate who quickly disappears when we are no longer beneficial to their ambitions. They can even be the long-standing acquaintance who showers us with flattery one moment, yet mocks our vulnerabilities behind our back. Understanding the myriad faces of these false companions is crucial for preserving our emotional well-being. Many individuals, especially in the flush of youth, have difficulty discerning the difference between genuine camaraderie and the superficial bonds that masquerade as true affection. In certain cases, we may be lonely or eager to form quick bonds, causing us to overlook red flags that could otherwise warn us of someone's insincerity. Loneliness is a powerful motivator, and the desperation to belong can cloud our judgment. The idea of companionship becomes so valuable that we cling to relationships even when they are rooted in shallow or exploitative intentions. Despite their destructive potential, fake friends can teach us some of life's most valuable lessons. They illuminate the importance of boundaries, self-respect, and the art of discerning authenticity beneath charm. They teach us the nature of betrayal, the fragility of trust, and the significance of preserving our emotional sanctity. While we should never celebrate pain, it remains true that pain can be a skillful teacher. Each encounter with a false friend can sharpen our intuition, making us more alert to similar dynamics in the future. These experiences are rarely pleasant, yet they push us to mature. They guide us to be mindful of our choices in companionship and to cultivate stronger self-awareness so that we do not abandon our principles in the mere hope of fitting in. The path to understanding and coping with fake friends begins with exploring the psychological and social factors that lead to such behaviour. Some individuals are driven by envy, comparing themselves incessantly to those around them, seeking any route to elevate themselves, even if it means undermining the success or well-being of the people they claim to care about. This envy may be concealed beneath lavish praise and excessive compliments. They prop you up just enough to observe your reactions, glean your vulnerabilities, and see where you stand. Then, when they sense an opportunity to serve their own interests at your expense, they seize it. Such behaviour can be seen as a manifestation of deep-seated insecurity and an inability to find genuine self-worth through healthy means. When insecurity runs rampant, individuals can be lured by the temptation to drag others down, using false friendship as a convenient instrument. Another essential factor to consider is the desire for social or material gain. Some fake friends enter our circles specifically because they see value in our connections, resources, or influence. They wear a veneer of kindness and loyalty, but their loyalty is an illusion that dissolves if they discover a more beneficial alliance elsewhere. This transactional view of relationships transforms emotional bonds into a kind of currency. People become stepping stones rather than cherished companions, each a rung on the ladder of personal gain. The heartbreak of realizing that someone only befriended you for a business link, a shallow popularity boost, or a stepping stone toward a bigger prize can crush one's sense of self-worth. Such realizations can sow distrust, making it hard to open our hearts to genuine connection in the future. While the betrayals of fake friends can be devastating, these experiences also prompt us to reflect on our own boundaries and sense of self. They invite us to ask, why did we allow this person so much access to our hearts? What unspoken need was fulfilled by their superficial attention? Were there subtle signals that we dismissed because we were yearning for camaraderie? These questions are not meant to place blame on the wounded party, but rather to illuminate areas in which we can grow and strengthen our self-protective instincts. It is easy to see ourselves as victims of another's cruelty or manipulation. It is more challenging to examine our own vulnerabilities and learn from them so that we become better guardians of our emotional and psychological welfare. That said, it is crucial not to allow encounters with fake friends to harden us entirely. The world is a complex place, teeming with individuals who are genuine, kind, and sincere. It would be a disservice to ourselves to close off all opportunities for connection simply because we were wronged by those who saw friendship as a convenient disguise. The danger of becoming overly cynical cannot be overlooked. Skepticism can provide a protective shield, but too much skepticism can transform into isolation. Maintaining a sense of hope balanced with healthy caution is the challenge we face once we have learned how damaging deception can be. Developing this balance begins with honest self-reflection. Genuine friends tend to reflect our worth back to us and encourage our growth. Fake friends often prompt us to question our value. When we feel drained, exploited, or used after interactions, it may point to an unhealthy dynamic. Authentic camaraderie generally brings a sense of security, affection, and respect. Even disagreements in healthy friendships serve as opportunities for deeper understanding, because there is a shared foundation of love or mutual regard. In contrast, disagreements with a fake friend often become weapons for belittlement or humiliation. In many cases, the emotional fallout from disagreements with a fake friend is more intense, leaving behind bitterness and confusion. Psychologically, relationships that revolve around deception and manipulation can mirror certain personality tendencies, such as narcissistic or Machiavellian traits. These traits involve an inflated sense of self-importance, a lack of empathy, and a willingness to exploit others for personal gain. A fake friend with such traits may speak at length about their own achievements or woes, but dismiss or minimize yours. They may angle every conversation to revolve around themselves. They might even be absent when you need support, yet demand your undivided attention when they face troubles. This one-sidedness often reveals itself slowly, creeping into the relationship once the initial charms wear thin and the demands on your emotional energy grow more pronounced. At its core, the phenomenon of fake friendship exposes the fragility of trust. Trust is a delicate bond that forms when we choose to reveal our vulnerabilities. It allows us to let down our defenses and to rely on others for support, comfort, and a sense of belonging. Yet the willingness to trust renders us susceptible to betrayal. When someone pretends to be our companion, we extend our goodwill to them, only to later discover that our trust was misplaced. This can profoundly shake our faith in humanity. We might wonder how to distinguish between those who genuinely care and those who are simply playing a role. One of the biggest dilemmas is that fake friends rarely announce themselves openly. They often blend seamlessly into our social circles. They know the right words to say to earn our confidence. They study our preferences, ideals, and wounds, then craft their behavior accordingly. This can create a powerful illusion of understanding and emotional bond. We might find ourselves thinking, "At last, here is someone who truly sees and values me." But this sense of being seen is carefully curated to ensnare our affections. By the time they show their true colours, we have already formed emotional attachments, making it difficult to break free without a period of self-doubt, hurt, and disillusionment. The journey of healing from fake friendships often involves setting healthy boundaries. Boundaries are the protective borders of our emotional landscape. They delineate where our personal comfort zone begins and ends, allowing us to determine how much we are willing to invest in or share with someone else. Establishing boundaries becomes an act of self-care, especially after experiences of betrayal. It serves as a reminder that although compassion is a virtue, it should not come at the expense of our well-being. Through boundaries, we define how we expect to be treated and ensure that we do not abandon our sense of dignity for the sake of acceptance. Many people who have been hurt by fake friends also discover that they need to reevaluate their idea of kindness. Kindness is a laudable quality, but too much misplaced kindness can become an open invitation for manipulative personalities. Sincerity should never be confused with blind accommodation. Learning to say no can be a powerful step. That single word can protect us from overextending ourselves to people who have no intention of reciprocating our generosity. Yet we often shy away from saying no because we fear conflict or rejection. We fear that we will be perceived as rude, selfish, or uncooperative. A fake friend can exploit this reluctance, demanding favours and emotional investment without offering a balanced relationship in return. Part of guarding against such exploitation is learning to recognise that our emotional and mental energy is a precious resource, and that genuine friends do not demand a constant and unhealthy imbalance. It can be helpful to reflect on personal values and life goals when discerning the quality of our friendships. A friend who truly supports us will respect these values and celebrate our progress. A fake friend, on the other hand, may subtly or overtly try to sway us from our principles. They may trivialize our dreams or encourage us to engage in activities that conflict with our core sense of right and wrong. The destructive influence might not always be overt. Sometimes it is as subtle as persistent pessimism or small sarcastic remarks that chip away at our confidence. Over time, these micro-manipulations can accumulate, leaving us uncertain about our abilities and our moral compass. This cumulative effect can be emotionally taxing, especially if we are unaware of how we are being undermined. In some cases, individuals maintain relationships with fake friends out of habit or obligation. Perhaps they have been part of our social circle for a long time, or they are linked to us through mutual acquaintances. The inertia of familiarity can be strong, and we might rationalize their behaviors by recalling moments when they were kind, supportive, or at least present during a crisis. Yet a pattern of insincerity or untrustworthiness typically overshadows any fleeting acts of decency. The internal battle between nostalgia and self-preservation can keep us tethered to relationships that do more harm than good. Releasing these connections may involve uncomfortable confrontations or the silent withdrawal of our presence. Either path can lead to an initial sense of loneliness, but ultimately it serves our psychological health. The emotional toll exacted by fake friends can be immense. Beyond the obvious feelings of betrayal and hurt, one might also experience guilt, questioning whether they did something to cause this false friend to turn away or behave so callously. There is often confusion about how someone can appear so genuine for such a length of time, only to reveal a completely different persona later. This confusion can breed a sense of mistrust toward new or existing relationships, as we worry that others may wear masks too. Overcoming this hesitation requires patience and a willingness to allow time to show who truly has our best interests at heart. Individuals who have suffered at the hands of fake friends may also grapple with anger. This anger can take many forms: anger at the friend for deceiving them, anger at themselves for not recognizing the deception sooner, or anger at the unfairness of losing an illusion that once felt comforting. It is crucial, however, to work through this anger without letting it turn into bitterness. Lingering bitterness can poison our perception of all friendships, colouring our interactions with cynicism. While caution is warranted, a hardened and perpetually suspicious heart may miss out on the genuine connections that do exist. Processing betrayal in a healthy manner involves acknowledging the pain, identifying lessons learned, and gradually moving forward. Building resilience against fake friends often calls for intentional self-improvement. This might involve reading about healthy relationships, seeking counselling, or immersing oneself in communities that prioritize empathy and honesty. It could also mean practicing mindfulness or self-inquiry, asking ourselves, where are my vulnerabilities? What do I truly want in a friend? And what am I willing to offer in return? By understanding our own emotional needs more thoroughly, we become less susceptible to the flattery and deceit that fake friends use as bait. Engaging in honest self-reflection allows us to see where we may need to fortify our self-esteem or enhance our communication skills. The environment in which we socialize also shapes our likelihood of encountering and tolerating fake friends. If we surround ourselves with superficial circles focused largely on status, appearance, or material success, we might find a higher concentration of people willing to form shallow connections. Shifting our social environment, seeking out communities that value depth, integrity, and shared interests can be a meaningful step. These shifts often lead us toward friendships rooted in compassion and mutual respect, diminishing the appeal of those who thrive on inauthentic interactions. However, changing our social environment can be challenging. Habits and routines develop over time, and stepping away from them can stir anxiety about the unknown. Yet, if we continue to swim in waters that breed fakeness, we risk repeating the same dynamics that left us wounded in the first place. Culturally, perceptions of friendship and loyalty vary, but the phenomenon of fake friendships exists in nearly every society. In some places, social hierarchies may encourage the cultivation of relationships purely for connections or advancement. In others, the facade of politeness may hide genuine thoughts and feelings, leading to an undercurrent of passive-aggressive behaviors. Despite these variations, the universal thread of betrayal remains. The pain of discovering that someone has been using us or harboring ill intentions behind a sunny veneer is felt across languages and borders. By understanding that fake friendships are not confined to one particular culture or demographic, we can better appreciate the global relevance of this social dynamic and see that the lessons gleaned from these experiences resonate widely. Another aspect to consider is how modern technology amplifies or complicates issues surrounding fake friendships. Social media platforms enable people to cultivate carefully curated images of themselves, and this curation can extend to online relationships. Someone might appear incredibly supportive in public comments, praising every post, yet privately manipulate or belittle. The quest for likes, shares, and digital validation can encourage false forms of intimacy. Some will shower others with compliments in the hopes of reciprocity, all the while harboring hidden agendas. This blurring of genuine and performed behavior makes it harder to discern authenticity. Online interactions often lack the nuances of body language, tone, and real-time empathy that help us gauge sincerity in person. Consequently, the digital age has expanded the potential for fake friendships. That said, technology can also be a tool for revealing insincerity. People might slip up and show their true colours in an unguarded message, or leave a trail of contradictory statements across various platforms. At times, mutual connections might share screenshots or bring attention to manipulative behaviour that occurs in hidden corners of the digital world. While painful, such revelations can be a blessing in disguise, helping us detect deception earlier than we might have if our interactions were limited to occasional face-to-face meetings. The essential lesson here is that technology itself is neutral. It can be used to foster genuine bonds or facilitate manipulative relationships. Our task is to remain vigilant and use these platforms judiciously. Once we have identified a fake friend, the process of extricating ourselves from that relationship can be emotionally complex. Some choose a direct confrontation, laying bare the behaviour they have observed and expressing their sense of hurt. Others simply drift away, reducing contact until the link dissolves. There is no single correct method. Each approach depends on factors such as the severity of the betrayal, the length of the relationship, and the personalities involved. Direct confrontation can bring closure but may also spark conflict. Gradual withdrawal can preserve peace but may leave unresolved feelings. Regardless of the method, prioritizing emotional well-being is the key. We do not owe continued loyalty to those who have proven themselves disloyal. In addition, it is important to remember that individuals can change, though not everyone does. Some people behave as fake friends due to immaturity, insecurity, or circumstances that pressure them to act in ways contrary to their genuine values. If over time they recognise the harm they have caused and sincerely work to right their wrongs, it is possible for them to re-establish trust, although this is not guaranteed. Forgiveness is a personal choice, and it should be offered only when there is compelling evidence that the other party has changed. A repeated cycle of betrayal followed by hollow apologies can be a strong indicator that this person has no intention of altering their behaviour. It falls on us to decide whether to hold on to the hope of transformation or to move on. Another dimension to fake friendships involves taking responsibility for our role within these dynamics. This is not to say that we are to blame for another person's choice to lie or manipulate. Rather, it invites us to examine whether our actions or lack of boundaries inadvertently encourage the behaviour. Did we ignore repeated signs out of fear of losing someone's approval? Did we offer trust too freely without first observing how they handled small confidences? Did we dismiss our intuition when it whispered that something felt off? Accepting responsibility for our own patterns can help prevent similar situations from arising in the future. It can also be a liberating process, one that empowers us to adapt and to refine our ability to discern character. The lessons we glean from fake friendships can be life-altering. Learning about betrayal forces us to confront not only the reality of another's deception, but also the illusions we ourselves may have fostered. We might see how much we desired to believe in a perfect companion who would always cheer us on without reservations. We might realise we used the mirage of friendship to distract ourselves from our own insecurities. When the mask falls away, we are left with the stark truth that each human being must, ultimately, answer to their own conscience. Some will uphold principles of loyalty and kindness, others will not. Confronting this truth can spark an awakening, an urgent desire to cultivate friendships founded on genuine respect. Authentic friends, unlike their counterfeit counterparts, do not hesitate to show vulnerability and respect ours as well. They stand beside us not merely when life is celebratory, but also when our world has been shaken. Their presence is not transactional. They do not tally favours or hold our mistakes against us as leverage. In healthy relationships, empathy flows in both directions. There is space for healthy conflict, space to agree to disagree, and space to grow individually and collectively. When we distinguish the essence of a true friend from a fake friend, we become more appreciative of the authentic connections we do have. This gratitude is fuel for deeper bonds. It motivates us to nurture these sincere relationships, to communicate openly, and to be trustworthy companions ourselves. There is a certain irony in how our encounters with fake friends can ultimately guide us toward better, more fulfilling relationships. The stark contrast they provide helps us see, with greater clarity, the qualities that make a friendship worthy of our time and emotional energy. We learn that real companions do not desert us during our trials. They do not talk behind our backs or mock our weaknesses. They celebrate our achievements without envy and acknowledge our pain without judgment. They are willing to invest time, empathy, and understanding. And while they are not perfect, they may fail us inadvertently, they do not fail us intentionally or maliciously. This realization can invigorate our search for relationships that reflect these ideals. We also gain wisdom about self-protection. We learn to be patient before dubbing someone a friend, allowing time and shared experiences to reveal the depth of a person's character. We pay attention to how they treat those who cannot offer them anything. We observe how they respond to our setbacks and mistakes. Do they rush to our defense or distance themselves out of self-preservation? Do they exploit our vulnerabilities for their amusement or protect them fiercely? Are they consistent in their empathy, or do they display a selective benevolence that aligns with their convenience? These questions guide our discernment. By making such observations over time, we come to see who genuinely cares and who merely pretends. The process of unlearning the damage inflicted by fake friends also involves re-establishing faith in ourselves. Betrayal can rattle our sense of judgment. We may worry that we lack the discernment to avoid toxic individuals. The path forward involves acknowledging that being deceived does not make us foolish. It simply makes us human. Trust is a gamble in any relationship. The alternative, living in constant suspicion, is not conducive to well-being. Realizing that even the most perceptive among us can be fooled is an essential part of self-forgiveness. Embracing the reality that no one has perfect foresight frees us from the burden of self-condemnation. In rebuilding, we can also deepen our understanding of empathy. Having suffered at the hands of fake friends, we become more sensitive to signs of betrayal in others' lives. We recognize that loneliness can make a person vulnerable to false companionship. If we learn from our experiences, we can step up to offer genuine support to those who need it. Our wounds can transform into a source of wisdom and compassion, inspiring us to be the friend we wished we had during our moments of anguish. In this way, the damage wrought by fake friendships can bear fruit in the form of empathy, as we endeavour to spare others from similar hurt. As we journey onward, we might find that certain encounters with fake friends never receive full closure. They might leave our lives abruptly, or we might be unable to have a final, clarifying discussion. That lack of closure can be unsettling, yet it is a common reality. Life often does not arrange itself into neat resolutions. We might be left with unanswered questions and an uneasy sense that we will never fully understand why someone behaved as they did. Learning to be at peace with these unanswered questions is part of emotional maturity. We cannot compel others to be honest, nor can we force them to explain themselves. We can only choose how we will move forward, deciding whether to let the sting of betrayal define us or to let it refine us. In some circumstances, the pain might resurface unexpectedly, triggered by a memory or a particular environment. It is beneficial to remind ourselves that healing is rarely a linear process. There may be days we feel almost entirely free of the hurt, and other days when the scars ache once again. Each emotional wave is an opportunity to practice self-compassion. We are reminded that scars indicate healing, not perpetual woundedness. Over time, we grow more adept at recognizing that these passing moments of pain are echoes of the past rather than signs of new harm. This recognition offers a sense of perspective, enabling us to move through the waves with resilience. Embracing new friendships after being burned by fake ones can be a leap of faith. We may hold people at arm's length, concerned that investing trust too soon will set us up for another fall. It is possible to proceed with caution without withdrawing entirely from the field of human connection. We can approach potential friends with a mix of open-heartedness and awareness. When we communicate openly about our need to move slowly and carefully, we allow new connections to form in a way that respects our healing process. Genuine individuals will understand and adapt, while those who find these boundaries inconvenient may drop away, revealing that they were not well suited for a meaningful bond. In the broader sense, the topic of fake friendships intersects with our search for authenticity in all aspects of life. We live in a world that often exalts surface impressions, quick gratification, and curated personas. We are inundated with images and messages encouraging us to present the best versions of ourselves at all times, hiding our struggles and insecurities. Within this climate, it is all too easy for a veneer of likability to take precedence over genuine relationships. Yet, there is a growing hunger for authenticity. Many individuals yearn for real conversations, mutual empathy, and relationships that are not merely transactional. Recognizing the hollowness of fake friendships can be the first step toward reorienting ourselves toward depth and substance. Reflecting on the fleeting nature of insincere connections, we might also consider the enduring importance of character. Our character guides us even when no one is watching. For the fake friend, it is often a performance, a set of behaviours tailored to extract benefit. For the genuine individual, it is a moral compass that remains consistent across settings. When we aim to cultivate a character rooted in empathy, honesty, and respect, we align ourselves with those who share those values. This alignment might not always be instantaneous, but over time, our character becomes a beacon that draws in similar-minded people and repels those who thrive on deceit. At the heart of it all, the story of fake friends is in many ways a cautionary tale about understanding and protecting our emotional core. It teaches us to value ourselves enough to demand respect and reciprocity in our relationships. It underscores the importance of patience. Rushing into friendships to fill a void can leave us vulnerable. It illuminates the necessity of discernment, the ability to see beyond charming words and flattery. It challenges us to maintain compassion for others without surrendering our self-worth. It reminds us that trust, once broken, can be repaired only with great effort and sometimes not at all. Yet, it also reveals that each of us holds a deeper reservoir of resilience than we might suspect. This process of learning from betrayal is ultimately life-affirming. Through it, we discover that we are more than the sum of our painful experiences. We learn that heartbreak, while real, does not have to be permanent. We see that authenticity, while sometimes painful in its clarity, is preferable to the comfortable illusions peddled by false companions. We begin to appreciate that genuine friendship, a bond formed by mutual care, vulnerability, and respect, is one of life's precious gifts. And perhaps most importantly, we come to realize that our self-worth does not hinge on any single relationship. We remain whole, capable of giving and receiving love, even after someone uses our trust as a stepping stone. As time progresses, the sting of betrayal may lose its edge, but the lessons remain etched in our memory. We might recall a certain situation where we confronted a friend about inconsistency, only to be met with evasion and deflection. We might remember the moment when a friend turned away at a critical juncture, revealing that their loyalty was conditional. These memories can become cautionary signposts, reminding us to heed the intuitive warnings we once ignored. Yet, these memories can also become testaments to our growth, tangible evidence that we now recognize signs of insincerity more quickly. Each time we trust again, we do so with eyes wider open. There is a balancing act inherent in healing from fake friendships. On one side lies caution, shaped by the memory of pain. On the other side lies openness, fueled by the desire for genuine human connection. Both sides are necessary. Caution alone can isolate us. Openness alone can leave us susceptible to harm. The middle path involves gradually allowing people into our confidence while continuing to observe their words and actions over time. We do this not out of paranoia, but from a desire to honor both our emotional needs and the complexity of human nature. We are neither gullible nor hostile. Rather, we are discerning and receptive. The creative aspect of exploring fake friendships can involve channeling our feelings and insights into art, writing, or other forms of expression. Some find solace in crafting stories or poems about betrayal and redemption. Others paint or compose music to capture the tumult of emotions unleashed by broken trust. Creativity can act as a bridge between the wounded heart and the healing process. By externalizing our experiences, we transform intangible hurt into tangible output, where it can be examined, understood, and eventually transcended. This does not erase the betrayal, but helps us integrate it into a broader narrative of personal development. Education about friendship dynamics should start early in life, well before individuals encounter severe betrayals. Young people especially benefit from learning about boundaries, empathy, and self-respect. They need to know that friendship is not about constant agreement or the absence of conflict, but about mutual concern, understanding, and growth. When we teach these principles openly, we help cultivate a generation better equipped to handle the challenges of relationships. They learn to discern sincerity from manipulation and to find the courage to step away from toxic dynamics. By instilling these lessons, we may reduce the social currency of fake friendships, making them a less viable option for those who seek to exploit others. Genuine friendship has no precise formula, but it does have certain hallmarks that differentiate it from counterfeit connection. Mutual support is one such hallmark. In an authentic bond, both parties take pleasure in offering emotional support, celebrating each other's achievements, and sharing in each other's struggles. There is a spirit of reciprocity, an unspoken understanding that what one gives is returned in some form, though not always in equal measure at every moment. Over the course of a long-standing friendship, circumstances will dictate that one friend may need more help than the other at times. A fake friend tends to vanish during those periods, reappearing only once equilibrium is restored or when they see something to gain again. Another key hallmark is respect for autonomy. True friends rejoice in each other's individuality and personal growth. They do not feel threatened by their friend's success or authenticity. Instead, they applaud every step forward, reveling in the unfolding of the other person's journey. In stark contrast, a fake friend may attempt to stifle personal growth, fearful that new achievements or horizons might reduce their influence or leave them behind. This fear can manifest in subtle discouragement, snide remarks, or attempts to monopolize the other's time and attention. Recognizing these patterns can be a vital step toward preserving one's sense of self and cutting ties with those who undermine it. Honesty, even when uncomfortable, is another cornerstone of real friendship. Individuals who genuinely care about us will be willing to offer gentle truths about our shortcomings or unwise decisions. They deliver criticism lovingly, with the goal of helping us grow. A fake friend may avoid direct honesty, preferring to flatter us or feed our ego, only to disparage us behind our backs. Or they may speak harsh truths in a way designed to wound rather than guide. The manner in which friends approach difficult conversations can reveal whether they are invested in our well-being or merely seeking to manipulate outcomes for their benefit. Over time, recognizing the emotional landscape that accompanies different friendships becomes more instinctual. We can tune into the subtle feelings we experience before, during, and after interactions. If we notice consistent anxiety, dread, or insecurity in relation to a certain friend, it might be a sign that the bond is draining or toxic. Conversely, if we feel uplifted, supported, and valued, it's a sign that the connection is likely healthy. Of course, no relationship is perfect, and fleeting moments of discord do not necessarily indicate fakeness. What matters is the underlying consistency of respect, empathy, and reciprocity. Experiences with fake friends highlight the importance of self-love. When we cherish ourselves, we become less willing to settle for unbalanced, manipulative relationships. We understand our own worth and refuse to let others trample upon it. We also become more inclined to offer genuine love to others because we recognize the value of such an authentic gift. The relationship between self-love and outward compassion is cyclical. As we cultivate one, the other flourishes. This synergy stands in stark opposition to the self-doubt and negativity often exploited by fake friends. One might ask if there is ever a place for superficial connections in our lives. Occasional acquaintances or light social interactions are not inherently harmful, as long as we recognize them for what they are. Not every friendly face has to be a deep confidant. The risk arises when we mistake surface-level camaraderie for genuine friendship. Maintaining a line between casual acquaintances and true friends can help us manage expectations and guard our vulnerability. The danger of fake friendship often arises when we overestimate the depth of a bond that, in reality, was never meant to go beyond polite exchange or shared interests. This brings us to the concept of selective vulnerability. While it is healthy to share our thoughts and feelings, especially when seeking emotional support, not every person in our orbit deserves the same level of intimacy. We can gauge another's trustworthiness over time by observing how they handle small secrets or private details. If they prove reliable and compassionate in those minor matters, we can consider sharing more. On the other hand, if we discover a pattern of gossip, blame-shifting, or trivializing our experiences, we can refrain from further disclosure. This approach helps us minimize the potential harm that can come from entrusting our deeper selves to the wrong person. Above all, the overarching narrative of fake friendships reminds us of the tremendous power of authenticity in human relationships. Authenticity fosters real connection. It encourages us to meet one another with open hearts, free from pretense. It challenges us to show up as we are, flaws included, and to extend that same acceptance to others. When we practice authenticity, we gain the ability to see through the masks that fake friends wear. We become more adept at recognizing the tension between their words and their actions. While we cannot eradicate all deceit from the world, we can cultivate an environment around ourselves in which sincerity thrives. In the end, learning about fake friends is not merely about steering clear of pain. It is about choosing a life aligned with truth, honesty, and deeply rooted connection. It is about honouring ourselves enough to refuse the illusions that undermine our spirits. It is about developing empathy, resilience, and a clearer sense of purpose in our relationships. Most importantly, it's about refusing to let the shadows of betrayal define our future. We can let them guide us, yes, but define us, no. The betrayal of a false friend is not a verdict on our worth. It is evidence of their failure to uphold the sacredness of genuine friendship. Life may place fake friends along our path for a variety of reasons: to teach us wisdom, to refine our discernment, or to reinforce the values we hold dear. Each time we face such a trial, we have the chance to emerge with deeper insight. By acknowledging the pain yet choosing to move forward, we embody a courageous spirit. This courage does not deny the reality of betrayal, but uses it as fuel for personal and relational growth. Over time, we come to appreciate that truly meaningful friendships are treasures, forged in mutual respect, honesty, and kindness. They are worth every bit of effort, every bit of soul-searching, and every bit of vulnerability we invest in them. So, when we encounter someone who seems too quick to praise, too eager to attach themselves to our victories, or too fleeting when our fortunes dip, we can take a step back. We can evaluate whether this is the beginning of another fake friendship or simply a misunderstanding. We can observe, reflect, and decide how much of our emotional world we're willing to open up. We do not need to become cold or callous to protect ourselves. Instead, we can remain warm-hearted but wise, aware that not everyone who enters our lives is entitled to a place in the innermost chambers of our trust. Realizing this distinction can set the stage for deeper, more fulfilling relationships in which both parties grow, evolve, and support one another. These real connections stand in stark contrast to the shallow and conditional ties championed by fake friends. Ultimately, it is our choice to accept or decline the illusions that come our way. The revelations that accompany betrayal can be painful, but they also illuminate the rare beauty of a bond built on truth. They offer us the chance to cultivate an inner circle of friends who truly know and honour who we are. And that circle, however small it may be, can shine a brightness into our lives that no amount of false flattery could ever duplicate. In moving forward, we carry the lessons learned like seeds. We plant them in the soil of our renewed outlook, tending them with caution and hope. As these seeds grow into well-formed boundaries and a deeper understanding of human nature, they yield the fruits of stronger, healthier connections. The shadows of fake friendships recede in comparison to the radiance of loyalty, compassion, and shared dreams. We find our capacity to love and to trust has not been destroyed but transformed, now tempered with wisdom and a clarified sense of what we deserve. Through this metamorphosis, the sting of falsehood eventually fades, leaving behind only the gentle hum of self-respect and the open invitation to those who can meet us with the honesty we have learned to cherish.